On today's starting nine, Jake and Carl sit down with former Cincinnati Reds turned Seattle Mariners starting pitcher Luis Castillo on life inside the wild card race and our first ever bilingual translated interview. Before and after that conversation, we got sex in Toronto, a wrench in the AL Cy Young Award season, a huge milestone for an underrated baseball guy in my opinion, some funky statistics, and a friend zone situation for the ages. It's a great day for starting nine. Let's just get into it. Action and welcome to Starting Nine. I am Carl, joined by Jake, and it is September 1st. What's going on, buddy?
It's an exciting day indeed. Everything's good. I was just telling you before the show, I got no sleep. Stayed up too late playing cards. Brittany rolls over, turn your fucking phone off and go to sleep. I can't yet. I just can't. I'm in a nice game. I told you I had to kind of get the breathing going, get the endorphins running. I got a busy day, had a really early morning, got a workout in, second cup of coffee, some sparkling waters here. I got my notes in front of me. But yeah, September it's a really fun month because for a lot of reasons. All the hard work that teams have put in to get themselves in position to have a shot to roll the dice in October. Teams on the fence, potentially making a wild card spot, maybe not. The season could be in jeopardy. An opportunity for young players to showcase what they're capable of on teams that aren't necessarily going to perform in the postseason and get ready for next year. So a lot of stuff going on. A lot of great things have happened in the past 5, 6, 7 days. So we got some nice stuff to talk about.
Yeah, huge slate. This is it. This is go time. There's a couple, obviously, divisions we'll get to that are just signed, sealed, and delivered. But some of these storylines that are coming about, some injuries, some guys coming back from injury. I do have a big announcement for myself. This is my dog's birthday today. Happy 5th birthday to Scotty Puppin. It was my first dog. I don't know how old you were when you had your first dog, but I wasn't allowed to have dogs as kids just because my parents were working like crazy. They were like, we're going to take care of the dogs, not you guys, so you guys don't get dogs. First chance I did as an adult after I got married, my wife and I got a dog. His name's Scotty Puppin. We rescued him from Right Way in Morton Grove, Illinois. I just have an affinity for dogs. Now I'm like obsessed. I see a dog. I'm just like, oh my, I'll talk to any dog. Any dog. I love all dogs.
I love all dogs too. I guess I can't say that. I like dogs. I know that people have different tastes in dogs. I'm not a big fan of really small dogs just because of like my lifestyle. I like to have a dog that I can take on a run, that I can take on trails, not worry about a hawk or an eagle coming down to pick it up or a coyote. Stuff like that. So if you're in the city, you're in a small condo, a studio apartment, you like a Chihuahua or a little teacup Yorkie, that's totally fine. But for me, I like a bigger dog, a more active dog, a dog that likes to chase birds and squirrels. And our dog Sunny, she every morning before I let her out, she's a field retriever, so she'll kind of point and she's kind of barking at the window. And we have these little lizards. Some are bigger than others, but she'll chase them and she'll jump through all of our flower beds. And she's done this since we've had her. She's yet to catch one, but goddamn, she tries really, really hard. So yes, I love dogs. There are a couple dogs that I'm a little nervous around just because of their sheer strength and size and power. Like I have a friend that has a pit bull, and it's one of the sweetest dogs you've ever seen and you'll ever meet in your entire life. But just knowing the type of power and strength that dog could exert if it wanted to is a little intimidating.
Yeah, no, you're connected. You're connected to this like the wolf pack or like the animal instinct. So just talking about like hawks and stuff, picking up the dog, your instinct to be protective and to look out for the pack is second to none. Yeah,
and we got to worry about, especially when it's hot, scorpions and snakes. So when we're out on the trails, and they have snake training, which they put these electric collars on the dog. They bring it over close to different types of snakes, diamondbacks, copperheads, coral snakes, all the venomous types of snakes that are here regionally. And when it gets really close, they zap them. And It doesn't, it shocks them. It doesn't really hurt them, but it lets them know not to go near that if they see it, see it somewhere. So it's a very useful tool and technique to prevent your dog from potentially dying or being put in a position where you have to take it into the vet to be treated with antivenom or whatever the case is. So we haven't done that with Sunny yet because I'm telling you what, if we're out there and she sees one, she's going right up to it. She's going to go right up to it, put her nose down and check out what it is. Fortunately, we haven't come in contact with one yet. So I'm thinking about, I mean, if you were me, you would do it, I assume, right? Because you don't want your dog to die. Out on a nice run with your dog, and then next thing you know, right in the jugular, game over. So I can't.
Well, there's a reason you Texas guys are different, and it's because you guys have to deal with different types of things on a daily basis. I mean, obviously, you're your own breed. Don't deny that. But part of it is like, well, I'm not thinking about rattlesnakes. I'm not thinking about scorpions.
It keeps you on your toes, most certainly, because I've just been, and it's been ingrained in us, my kids now too. It's like if it's early morning, usually you're not going to see them midday out in the sun because they'll kind of move before it gets really hot from place to place. So like early summer mornings before the sun is kind of high in the sky, they'll be moving. You could see one in your front yard, in your backyard, or near the sidewalk. So I just tell the kids, hey, when you leave the house, just be aware of your surroundings. Look around your feet. Look in the flower beds. Because you never know when you're going to run into one. It's a weird kind of, thing to have to prepare for. But, better prepared than not. Because the last thing you want to do is you step on one of those things, you get hit in the calf. Now you're scrambling to get to a place that has antivenom. And that's a tough day.
Well, you bring up a couple things here, probably unknowingly, that touch on the show later. The Diamondbacks, we got some great stuff on the Diamondbacks. A calf injury, ooh, you don't want to get a rattlesnake biting the calf. There's a big calf injury in baseball. You did set that up. And also on the subject of Texas, I'm going to go a little bit north to Kansas real quick. I'm going to give a shout-out to Barstool Sportsbook. Guys, this is a huge news. We are officially live in Kansas. You can download the Barstool Sportsbook app today. To celebrate, we've got an exclusive launch offer for everyone in Kansas. Opt in, then place any cash bet you want to get a $100 bonus, win or lose. College football is back and pro football kicks off next week. And baseball playoffs are right around the corner. There's plenty of action to place your first bet. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Gambling problem, getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. That's 1-800-522-4700. In partnership with Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway. And on the subject of the Sportsbook app, Bombs Away, I do have to touch this in a quick little announcement. We have got two major announcements. The first is Bombs Away is the exclusive sports bet, our exclusive prop bet on the Barstool Sportsbook app. It's up 2 units on the season. We've lost like 3 or 4 in a row on heartbreakers. We can't get over this hump, but I feel like there's major momentum in September. So you guys keep your eyes peeled for the Bombs Away. We like the ball. I'm telling you, I've been looking at the slugging percentages over the last couple of months. I think we're gonna have a trend up here in September. And then my last announcement, and this is super significant for the starting 9 community. Zach Gallen just will not give up runs since he's come on the podcast.
God, it's
and
amazing.
This is going to be a trend throughout the show.
It's
like
amazing.
The guys that we've talked to are killing it right now.
Do you think that he would come back on? You think he would come back on the show? Or is he like, you know what, I was on the show and I'm doing this thing. If when I give up a run, I'll come back on? Like, should we just let him roll and keep doing his thing and then reach out like – it's kind of one of those texts that you would get after a poor performance, like not that giving up 1 run is poor performance, but like, oh, hey, it was okay. Like you get him next time. Like, would he respond or?
I think he definitely would be interested in coming. Yeah, but we got to manage this one. I think he has to pay it forward. I think we're better off if we go to Zach and we're like, dude, you got to now tap in the next guy, like tag team style. Like who's getting a piece of this little run here because, I feel like I don't want to take too much credit, but 33 and a third scoreless, I believe.
What is the longest streak?
I think it's Oral Hershiser
with
around like
40,
58.
That is just absurd. I mean, that's so is that's an earned run, correct?
Yeah, earned 59 consecutive innings without.
That is absurd. No.
Scoreless innings, not even earned or unearned. Scoreless.
No unearned runs. Okay, that records just seem to get broken. It's like my second half in 15 when I had a .7. The reason I say this is because people are like, "Hey, you think that will ever be broken?" And I think it might be. Like things just might last for a while, but then people just keep breaking records. Like they just do. So the oral record of, you said 59?
Yeah, and that's just
like
scoreless.
That seems impossible. But Gallen's at 33. But to think that he could do that for another, 20 plus innings is just insane. I mean, 25 innings scoreless is amazing.
That's
but to do
four
it
more
two
starts.
times that.
Yeah.
I hope he does it. I mean, there's some really cool shit going on. I mean, look what Framber, Framber's doing. He did, what is that? His 22nd quality start in a row. He's probably got the best left-handed sinker in the game. Just wild. He was perfect in August, 5-0. He's 14-4 right now. That's Bob Gibson territory, Jake DeGrom type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
he's killing it.
There's some big time arms out there, and he's hot. I mean, well, he's been hot for a while, but wasn't there a period of time where he wasn't pitching very well, and people were a little worried about him? But look at him now.
I mean, if it was in April, and he's a heavy sinker baller,
Yeah.
so you got to give that guy 3-4 starts to get it cranked up.
And once it warms up, ball starts diving a little bit more. When it's cold, might not have the same grip. I mean, well, granted, they are in the AL West, so where are they playing where it's cold? Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of it, really. So,
speaking of Seattle, we're going to be joined by Luis Castillo in a little bit. Like I said in the intro, this is our first translated interview. I admittedly probably had too much fun with that. Like it was just hilarious how cool he was. That's coming up.
great dude. When he got to the big leagues, I'm like, I immediately compared him to Pedro Martinez, just seeing his stuff, 96 to 100 miles an hour with that, slinging low 3/4 arm slot, like we talked to him about, the perfect arm angle for just a devastating changeup. It's interesting to hear, I was going to talk to him about how he's been an absolute workhorse. The first time he was on the DL was this April with some shoulder tightness. And it was interesting to hear him talk about how he had that shoulder issue, and it actually made him creep up in his arm angle, which sounds counterintuitive. You would think if there's something, as you go overhead, usually the higher you go, the more that hurts. So you would think that he would drop down a little bit lower, but he ended up kind of doing that subconsciously to account for the issue he was having. But, after April, I mean, he's been great because I think he went he was close to 30 starts, every year or above, other than in 2017, his debut season, which I believe was in June. And then obviously the COVID, the bullshit season, he made every start, which I think was only 12, but he's an absolute workhorse. And it's great to see him just kind of pick up and slide in there and just kind of do his thing. And he doesn't walk very many people either. He's a strike thrower with elite stuff and high strikeout numbers. So he's a legit ace. I mean, I don't know if everybody it would be conclusive that he's a bona fide number one. I believe he is. But if he's not an absolute number one, he's very, very close. And he will be viewed as that, I think, overall very soon.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be comfortable making that argument. I think there's other people who would argue against it, but the fact of the matter is he's in that conversation, which in and of itself is just a huge testament to his skill set. So we're going to get to him in a little bit, but first we're going to spend a lot of time around the league. There's tons of stories we want to get into. But first I want to thank Game Time for sponsoring this episode, making Starting Nine happen. And you guys know Game Time because it's the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. It's a ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest price. I just used Game Time to buy tickets to take my best friend and his newborn daughter. I don't know how to say that. His baby daughter She's a couple months old. He wants to take her to her first baseball game. We're going to go catch a Cubs game next week, and I'm getting the lowest price guaranteed through Game Time. You guys can get it too. There's something big on the calendar. Check out Game Time. This thing absolutely needs to be the first and last app you're going to because you're going to get the lowest prices. All you have to do is download the Game Time app, go to the account tab to create a login, and redeem code STARTING9 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Download Game Time. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thank you, Game Time. Okay, some crazy stuff around the league. I like these Thursday shows because we can usually use the Tuesday show to catch up on, all the stuff that's happened over a number of days. But in the time that we recorded the last episode to now, I mean, dude, people having sex in Toronto. A guy gets friend zone in Milwaukee. We got 3 major injuries. We've got major injury returns. The Dodgers are very close to being – they're like on pace to break the Mariners. There's trash in the AL Central. The Mets and the Braves probably have one of my favorite statistics I've seen of the season, the Cardinals. And then I do want to do a deep dive on the Yankees, but let's go all the way back to the top. Did you see the people having sex in Toronto?
Yeah, it's voyeurism at its finest. Man, nuts being busted. I mean, did he finish? I would assume that if you're going to go to that length to get into it, you're going to finish. And some people just like to have other people watch them have sex, I've seen a lot of heavies in Toronto. The hotel is just right there in center field. It kind of wraps around. I mean, you see titties during BP. Rumor has it that I wasn't there for this one. Rumor has it there were 2 dudes getting after it in the hotel.
Okay.
To each their
Canada,
own.
man, it's progressive. That's going to happen.
And you just know stuff like that's going to happen. We need to. I'll fire some texts out and ask guys for some good Toronto stories if they've seen any action going on. And then was it in Oakland recently?
Yeah, a guy was getting a blowjob,
getting a blow piece.
Mm-hmm.
They know they're being seen. They got these, like these telescope looking like cameras by the dugouts and all along the concourse and up near the press box. Dude, you can probably see every hair that's going on.
Give me the
HD.
StatCast report. I want to know
it's HD.
That pump. Is he giving it to her hard? What's the exit velocity on the thrust? Position wise, this dude was like laying down in the middle of the aisle. I would have.
Well, that's the way to do it. If you're gonna do it right, or if you stay in the seat, it's a little more visible. But some people like that. They want people to see. I don't know, but good on them. Good for you. It's a little weird if there families around, like kind of seeing that happen. You don't want that. But in an all adult environment, I mean, like we're grown ups. We've seen a lot of weird shit, so that wouldn't bother me at all.
And I'm pretty sure the Blue Jays won. So
somebody they got to keep that up every home game.
Are those Cubs fans? Because Cubs are in Toronto. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Not.
She was wearing a dress. I didn't see what he was wearing. I would assume in shorts.
The right attire for the activity. Because if she's wearing jeans, it's a little more difficult.
Yeah, and jeans to a baseball game too. I just want to put this out there. It better be chilly. It better be chilly if you're wearing blue jeans and denim to a baseball game. That's just a personal preference here.
Well, it's accurate. Yeah. It's foolish to wear. If it's a night game, it's a little breezy, fine. But if you're in denim during the day, or if it's warm, they need to be at least above the knee. They need to be them jorts.
Well, from sex in Toronto to somebody who is having no sex in Milwaukee, this was a great story when the video board picture went out to begin with. But they do the messages on the video boards, and happy birthday, congratulations on the promotion, good luck with the 10K, all that bullshit. And during the video board messaging for the Milwaukee Brewers, there was a message to say, Mark, let's not ruin what we have. Mm-hmm.
We're good friends. We're good friends. Let's not wreck it, or something like that.
And then, because the Brewers were down 5-3, to the Pirates at the time. The message goes out. Story goes, the Brewers dugout, according to Christian Yelich, sees the message on the video board, and the dugout kind of comes together, and we can come back and win this one for Mark. They hit a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 8th, and then a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 9th to walk it off 7-5. And you got to imagine, if you're Mark, nobody wants to be in the friend zone, but this is actually like a pretty nice spin here, where it's like, hey, I might have gotten friend zone, but I am now officially a part of the Milwaukee Brewers 2020.
Now maybe he comes out and throws out the first pitch to a game. They kind of rally around him, and maybe this kind of helps him. I don't know. Do they stay friends? It's just a weird thing. But if you're the chick, I don't think she did the right thing, because putting it up on there, like while they're at the game, like, damn, that's kind of devastating for him when you're seeing all these positive things, and then it's like, oh, will you marry me? Happy birthday, happy anniversary. Let's not wreck our friendship. So that was a low blow on her part. But at the end of the day, I think they'll both be better off. So let's get Mark. Let's get him some Brewers gear. Let's get him some tickets behind the dish, and maybe let's have the boys try and set him up on some blind dates. Or, I mean, I guess you don't even have to do that now. You got Tinder and all this shit. So Mark will be just fine. I'm sure he's a young man. I mean, there's so many out there. I mean. Right.
It's just the friend zone's tricky because a lot of guys come into stuff, and they approach things from like a friendship level of like, we'll be friends and then I'll gear it up. Like, this is kind of a shitty analogy, but if you're going to the driving range, like, just grab the driver and just start ripping it. Like, you don't need to start with the fucking lob wedge and work your way into being like something more than it is. If you like the girl, start there, work backwards from that, because it's so hard to go from like, oh, we're good friends. Did you ever feel about me like this? Come on. From a broken heart to some, we'll just say, less serious injuries, but also serious injuries. I'm interested if you could tell me who's in the best spot of these pitchers to come back. I do want to do an extended dialogue on this, but just to start, to introduce these. Justin Verlander has a calf injury that sounds like it's going to be much better than it could be. Shane McClanahan just straight up has a shoulder injury that looked bad enough where he was crying in the bullpen. And then Tony Gonsolin from the Dodgers has a forearm strain that sounds worse than they're letting on. So we kind of have a range here of where it's like, this is really fucking bad, it looks like. Verlander, they're saying like, oh, this is fine, he'll bounce back. And then Gonsolin, it's like, is he bad? Is he not bad? He's tender. Now he's on the IL, and it just seems like it's kind of getting worse and worse.
Okay, so as far as the severity of, with Gonsolin, a forearm strain is what Walker Buehler had, correct? And now he ended up having Tommy John. So that could be a very, very mild strain all the way up to something serious, which causes him to miss the remainder of the season and potentially lead to surgery. So that could be scary. I mean, it could be on a scale of 1 to 10. I just don't know. And the training staff and the team is not going to give too much information, and they shouldn't, really. They need to evaluate MRIs and be evaluated by training staffs and maybe get a second opinion. And the same thing applies to Verlander, but it is his calf. I need to know, is it his left or right calf?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because that's a big deal. Real quick. Okay, so I'll go on to McClanahan. As hard as this guy throws, and I did see the replay of him kind of being consoled by his, bullpen coach, pitching coach. He was visibly upset. Seemed like he knew that it wasn't great. And this is why this sucks. Not that anybody getting injured is good, but when you have the likes of these three guys, all are potentially in like the Cy Young conversation. It's not good for the game. It's not good for their teams individually. It's just it's a bad deal. But it is, it's September 1st. These guys have all been under heavy workloads. Verlander is, 39 years old. McClanahan throws 100 miles an hour as a starter. I believe Gonsolin throws a split. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is he throwing a split?
Yes.
So, and I'm not saying that correlates to the forearm strain, but depending on how deep he has that split, I know that there are guys. And hey, real side note, I think we're going to be able to get Roger Clemens on the podcast. So
what?
Yeah. We'll talk about that later. But that split can put some strain on that flexor, the further you put that ball in between your fingers. So could be something that
he
led
throws
to the
about
forearm
27
strain.
splits a game. He throws about 27 splitters a game.
That's a lot. That's a lot of splits. So did you find Verlander right or left calf? If it's his left calf, it seems like
right
less
calf.
of an issue. Okay, so that's his push-off leg.
It's facial disruption, but no muscle fiber disruption. Fascial? F-A-S? Okay, I don't know what that means.
Okay, well, fascial strains can be difficult too. So fascia is, so you have your skin and then you have your fascia and then you have like your larger muscle tissue underneath. And so fascia can get like very rigid and stiff. So if you don't maintain like the elasticity of the fascia, it can tear. So it seems like that's what happened a little bit there. Being his drive off leg, and being as powerful as he is and as inclusive with all of his body, it's really hard to not use your calf. It's one of those muscles you don't really even pay attention to. It's just kind of there. It's more you think about your quad and your glute, your hamstring, your core rotation, your T-spine, your shoulders, your elbows, stuff like that. The calf is probably, when you're great, it's like the last thing you think about, like when you think about being an issue. But when it happens, I think Josh Donaldson dealt with a calf injury for like a year or so. I know back in the day, like Houston Street used to, because, you know, we're fairly close. He used to have issues with his calves, and they just linger and linger. So hopefully Verlander can recover from this, and he's in tune with his body enough to know maybe he can back off a little bit and control some of his intensity to still go out there and do his thing. Because look, Verlander at 92, 94 is still pretty damn good. So if he's able to go out there and compete and be able to command the ball and spin his breaking balls and pitch fairly deep into games at 70%, the Astros will definitely take that.
So a big interesting thing to me about this is Justin Verlander has got 152 innings this year. He's a clear front runner before this injury to win the Cy Young Award. Now with this injury, he's 10 innings short of qualifying for like ERA titles and all that stuff. You need to throw 162 innings to qualify for like leaguely or annual league awards like that. Then from a Cy Young perspective, the least innings ever pitched to win a Cy Young was Blake Snell, had like 180 and a third. And so if Verlander misses a couple starts, he comes back, you'd imagine he probably has 12 to 15 innings left in him. That would put him over the 162 inning qualified threshold, but well below the lowest inning count. Then you introduce the two guys underneath him, which would be Shane McClanahan and Dylan Cease. And now with McClanahan's injury, it's like Dylan Cease is the only guy.
He's a front runner
right now.
He's the front runner. So who would be, I guess, fourth on that list?
Probably Shohei or Alek Manoah, but those guys would be well behind one of these three. I think that you would see voters go to a very low inning count. Now, I don't believe that you have to throw 162 to qualify for the Cy Young. I do not believe the Cy Young Award has an inning threshold. I do know for like to say you're the ERA or you led the league in wins or whatever, you have to be I shouldn't say lead the league in wins. You guys understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. Cease is obviously, he's the front runner now. It's unfortunate because you want to see the guys at the top three, top four, kind of pitch healthy and kind of push each other. Not that they're like, like a hawk watching the other guys, but you pay attention. Like if you're in line to potentially win a Cy Young or something like that, like it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So I think with Cease, obviously we had him on the show. We had a really awesome episode with him. I'm gonna, start sending him links about, some about orchards and disc golf, and just kind of get those vibes in there, and just get him in a good space. Even though I don't need to do, he doesn't need me to do that. I'm sure he's in a good space without that, but just to kind of push him along a little bit, and kind of give him some fuel to continue doing his thing. But I mean, this guy seems rock solid as long as he stays healthy. It seems like he's going to be the guy that wins the Cy Young.
Yeah, and I'm personally cheering for him. I ran into him at a charity golf outing on Monday. The White Sox had the day off, and the conversation about disc golf continued for at least another hour. He is the difference between him as like the baseball player throwing 100 miles an hour, and then like the guy who just wants to sit and look at YouTube highlights of like sick disc golf stuff. And then we sat down, we were showing each other like high school baseball highlights and college pitching highlights I had on my phone. He was breaking down my mechanics. Good guy, that Dylan Cease. And another one, we're going to put a flag in him, just like Zach Gallen. I'm telling you, these are going to be like the stories that just continue to grow starting nine. Is like, come on the show, and you will obviously be in a better position. Speaking of which, Jake, I didn't tell you this about the conversation with Dylan yet. He was like on me big time about a comeback for you. He's like, that guy just looks too good. I don't understand it. And I was like, we'll talk to him more. You and him can connect one-on-one about it. But like, yeah, he looks good. He was like, no, but he looks too good. So that might be something Dylan's interested in you.
I don't want you to get me going on this because
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I appreciate Mr. C saying those kind words about me. Could I still do it? Sure. Do I want to be away from the family? I'm coach now. I don't know. I'm still contemplating this World Baseball Classic. I really love Eduardo Perez. He wants me to play with Puerto Rico. It'd be a fun little deal to do that, be in Miami and pitch against the best players in the world and play with some of the best players in the world and kind of honor my grandfather that was born in Puerto Rico. If I did that and things went really well, I'm going to stop it right there. Yeah.
I'll do that type of thinking for you. Don't worry. I'm over here doing that thinking for you. You just
you got me going. I mean, I'm definitely thinking about it, but man, just the hamstring injury last year and then the groin in my last start, like I don't know. That kind of got me. That got me a little bit. Getting injured sucks. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yep.
I got to think about it.
Fuck. Okay, well, while you think about it, I do want to thank I want to thank our friends at Ridge Wallet. It's an ultra slim minimalist wallet. It holds up to 12 cards plus room for cash. There's over 30 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. The wallets have over 50,000 five-star reviews. That's a lot. Speaking of which, go review our podcast. The durable material means each wallet comes with a lifetime warranty. Wow. Especially knowing some of the ages listen to this. That's a long time. The Ridge team is so confident that you'll like it that they'll let you test drive it for 45 days. You can send it back for a full refund if you don't love it. Now, that's a customer service we get behind at starting 9. 45-day test drive on the wall. If you don't love it, send it back. Full refund. Made with RFID blocking technology that protects you from digital pickpocketers. We like that. Check out their site, ridge.com. That's it, ridge.com. That's so easy to say and remember. I can't even imagine. That's such a value add that their website is just ridge.com. All right, go to ridge.com. Use the code STARTING9 for 10% off your order. And with every dollar spent on the website before September 30th, you'll be entered to win a brand new upgraded Ford Bronco or $75,000 if you prefer the cash. Every dollar spent on the website before September 30th, that's an unbelievable offer. Ford Bronco, $75,000 if you prefer cash. Check out the site, ridge.com. Use promo code STARTING9 for 10% off your order. Okay, so I had to share that. Don't stay with me because we got some stuff to talk about, and I think I speak on everybody on behalf of this audience and people that have gotten to know you through the show that whatever you decide to do, it's going to come from a great place. So if it's be around the kids or if it's you want to go compete, the only person you got proved to anything is whatever the hell you want to do. So
sure,
that's an important
I always
thing
want to
to
compete.
Share.
Competing is something I'll do forever, and especially in an athletic arena of some sort, whether it's pickleball or we're surfing, trying to learn new tricks, or playing tennis or golf or you name it. So maybe I think the arena has just changed for me. But yeah, I mean, the competitive juices, that has to be fueled and that has to be filled in multiple ways for me. So that will never stop. But we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll talk about it. But what I was just looking at, obviously the shirt that I'm wearing, everybody should remember this commercial with Albert Pujols. It was a SportsCenter commercial. He's in like the copy room, and everybody's calling him a machine. And he's kind of getting irritated. He says, "I'm no machine. I'm just Albert." And then the printer like says something to him, tells the printer to shut up. Just a great commercial. One of my favorite SportsCenter commercials of all time. So I believe we have these shirts. These shirts are live in the store, potentially. If they're not,
no, they're live now. We put them live on Wednesday night.
Good.
Yeah,
it's a great shirt. It's got all his accolades on the back of it.
Which, by the way, is a preposterous amount of accolades.
It's all the way down to my ass crack. It's a long list. It comes with sleeves, but they're removable with a nice pair of scissors. He's 6 away from 700. If he happens to not get to 700, God, is there any way he comes back for like just an April, or as long as it takes him to? I mean, man, a 7 in front of that instead of a 6 looks pretty good.
Yeah, it actually does. And if you're the Cardinals, you're running the math in your head like, well, if he does 700 next year, what's that contract? It's worth whatever it costs to get him in there to do it. I do personally think he's going to get to 7. I think that, and we got some Cardinals fans listen to this too that are a little worked up because one of my colleagues at Barstool had thrown out an article yesterday, a deep dive. A guy who writes a lot about nostalgia in baseball had issued a blog. I got to say, Chris Clemmer, I like, is a guy I've enjoyed working at Barstool for the time I've gotten to know him. We talked a little bit when he got hired. If he's got interest in baseball stuff, let me know. I'll share articles. I see a bomb gets dropped yesterday. No clue it was coming, where Clemmer had teased out without actually saying that he thought Albert was giving himself some competitive advantages. I would like to go on record and say I do not think that is the case at all. At all. So Cardinals fans, get out of my DMs. Get out of my DMs. A guy had a take. I do not agree with that take. I think Albert Pujols, if there's any benefit that's getting thrown his way, he is not a part of it. And that's how I feel about it.
Explain this.
Clemmer, we've got about 20 guys that write blogs about teams and baseball and all that stuff. And Clemmer wrote a blog yesterday. Clemmer's relatively new. Colin, you went to the Mets game with him yesterday. Feel free to chime in if he had anything to say about this in your conversations. He wrote a blog saying that it's fishy with how much his home run output has increased this year. And he maps out the numbers, and here's this and that. It's tough. It's a tough look.
It's a conspiracy.
If you know Clemmer, getting mad at Clemmer about something like this would be like the idea of this guy trying to be mean or have a malicious bone. He's like, this could be fishy. I think he said the word fishy.
He's just saying, potentially.
So we are going to, in response to the outrage that Clemmer has created, we're behind the Albert Pujols 700 march without any asterisks. There are T-shirts on sale. We are following this march. If you are a St. Louis Cardinals fan, you are offended by Chris Clemmer's work. You can tell Chris Clemmer to fuck off by go buying a T-shirt right now.
Boom.
That's how we did that. Speaking of coming back, I wanted to see if you thought, which obviously I think Harper's more important, but I have to pose the question, who has a bigger impact to the clubhouse coming in? Clayton Kershaw is going to make a start against the Mets on Thursday, or tonight I should say, and then Bryce Harper's on his way back to Philadelphia. Clubhouse impact only.
He's played a couple games, right? Harper's been back for a series.
Yes.
Oh, God, I mean, they both have tremendous impacts because of, I mean, they're both Hall of Famers. I mean, I'm Kershaw, obviously, no doubt. I think some people maybe argue about Harper, but would you? I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. His intensity for the game towards the game of baseball is like none other that I've ever seen, and it's very, very respectable. And it's infectious in the clubhouse. His passion for the game, and Kershaw is no different. But Kershaw is out there once out of every 5 days. Harper's in the lineup every day. So I think that Harper probably provides a little bit more of an impact because, I mean, let's just face it, the Dodgers have much more firepower. Like without Kershaw, they're still, the best team in baseball. Without Harper, they're drastically a different team, still capable of winning. But then you throw him in there every single day, you got a hell of a team. So I'm going to say that Harper has more of an impact, not just in the clubhouse, but overall on and off the field.
Yeah. Yeah, the Kershaw stuff coming back, I don't think they're going to be, they don't need to rely on him right away. I think they have a clear runway to get him amped up.
You make sure he's ready for the postseason.
That's it.
Yeah, you build him up. You make sure he's healthy. You just pamper him as much as you can, and you take care of him. You let him get off his feet when he needs it. You build him up to where he's ready to perform in October, and I think that's it.
So on the subject of the Dodgers, it's crazy to think 27-7 over their last 34 will break the Mariners' record for greatest team of all time.
It's 116 is what they won?
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah, they're on pace to win 113. They're 37 of 45, which is an unbelievable run. A 644 winning percentage since 17. You would obviously without championships, you can't consider it a dynasty, but like just what they've been able to do for so long. They're just so dominant. And then it gets the postseason in baseball, it's just so much different than the other major sports. It's so much different. So many weird things can happen. And people would argue with me on this, and rightfully so. But typically, you put the best 5 guys on the basketball court, they're gonna win that game.
Right.
You do that in baseball. You have the best starter. You have the best catcher. You got the best infield, outfield. You're not guaranteed to win, but like your chances in baseball are much less, in my opinion, than in the other major sports. And
I think a good sentiment too is like if you watching football or something like the wild card weekend, there will be years where you're like, oh, wasn't that good of a weekend? Wasn't that good? That slate of games wasn't great. Good luck going through a Major League Baseball playoff series and not just being utterly sucked in. Sure, there's going to be games where it's 8-3 blowouts or whatever, but for the most part, about every game has some drama, some storylines that suck you in, and we're very close. We're very close at that time on the calendar. One last thing I had on the Dodgers. Dave Roberts, through his first 1,000 games, has a .633 win percentage. That's the highest all time. Obviously a function of a great team. But credit to Dave Roberts because there's so much that goes into the modern management that like is evolving and changing from making lineup decisions, and now it's being more of a team psychologist and being good with me. It's always been about being good with media, but it's definitely easy to say the manager's role's changed. Having the players' respect, and Dave Roberts has that tenfold, and I think that is paramount to a good manager, a manager that can last for a really long time. And yes, obviously having the best players in the world makes a much better manager. But it seems like he just he makes all the right moves. Players have his back as they should. And he's a good man. Everybody that I know that knows him well speaks very, very highly of him. I love hearing that shit. Mm-hmm. From the Dodgers, let's go over to the East Coast for a second. The Mets and Braves I said this last episode, they went 42 days without losing on the same day, and now they've done it 2 times in a row. Tough situation. The Mets have lost back-to-back one-run games at the time of recording. I don't know if you see Pete Alonso broke a bat over his knee as he was getting out of the batter's box yesterday. I'm ready to declare there is a potential curse looming with the Mets, and it's this Timmy Trumpets guy, the guy who plays the trumpets for Edwin Diaz. They brought him into the game yesterday to be like, oh, well, you can play it if he comes in for a save situation. Doesn't happen. That would have been great to see. That would have been cool. He's back now. They said, no, he's back today. He's like, well, okay, you got to. So, but if he keeps coming back, and what if you're 5 games into this and there's no is Timmy Trumpets going to be there a week from now? That was his first baseball game too. It was a really cool moment. Like it's cool to see these celebrities or these famous people in whatever
line of work they do, whatever industry. Like it's his first baseball game, and I heard his comments like he's now a Mets fan for life. That's really cool. It's good for the game. He played the 7th inning stretch on the trumpet, which was cool to see. I wanted to see him play it to intro Diaz. Didn't get to, but you're right. Like if they just like don't win while he's there, do you just like not leave him a ticket at will call and just say, hey man, sorry, like we can't have you back.
Well, he's never been to a baseball game, meaning he doesn't
First
know what he's
game.
getting into with the Mets fans. These are Mets fans where, like, if they lose 3 in a row and he's at these games, he'll instantly become the most wanted man in Mets.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Can confirm.
So you guys would blame
I'll be
him. You
leading
guys
the
would
charge.
blame him. You'd blame him
in a
for
second.
that.
In a second, if players start underperforming now or like something happens, it's his trumpet guy for the rest of the year.
That does. It shows the superstitious nature of fan bases and of players within the game of baseball. I'll take your word for it, Colin. I mean, I don't. You know better than I. So all right.
We were at the game last night, and someone convinced Frank the Tank to stand up in the 9th inning, and immediately Vogelback grounds into a double play, and we lose. And Frank's like, "I'm never fucking standing again."
There it is. There it is. Yeah, I got it. I got it. All right. I stand corrected.
Okay, so Timmy Trumpet, look, he's got room to grow. The White Sox don't. I'm officially declaring him dead. 63 and 66. Stuff with La Russa, like health issues now. They got swept by the Diamondbacks, and that is to me officially a Guardians and a Twins race now, which sucks because we were talking about how much we like Dylan Cease, but. This is what happens if you have good talent. You don't play hard. So I don't.
Well, at least
I don't
we
think
can
it's
get a
any more
Cy Young
complicated.
out of it. Yeah, at least the Sox will get a Cy Young out of it. Hopefully. So only one team wins the division. Better luck next year.
In August, right? I mean, this is make or break time for a lot of these teams. And on that note, the Cardinals are 21-7 in August. I've been saying forever, this is what the Cardinals do in August. They backed it up. The fact that they have the 2 leading candidates for MVP in the National League is, and it's going to be Paul Goldschmidt anyways. But we have some other Cardinals we're going to get to, and I've got like an award thing we're going to package up after the Luis Castillo interview. But it's only just if we're doing some around the league stuff, just tip your cap to the August that the St. Louis Cardinals just put up, because that's like when you put your balls on the table, and they absolutely just fucking roasted people.
Yeah, and if you're a young kid and you're looking for a role model and just a player to look up to and maybe model yourself after, look no further than Paul Goldschmidt. Just a quiet, steady monster of a human being, forearms just of a Greek god, a beautiful short swing, a great defender, just an all around amazing ball player, and man, he's just so fun to watch. He's so fun to watch.
Yes, and the fun.
And I have a dual autograph. I think it's an Inception. No, it's a definitive, which is a Topps. It's a Topps set, dual auto of Goldschmidt and Arenado. That's in the personal collection. Not selling that one. Very, very happy to have that card. So, and look, hey, I'm a fan too. I like these guys. I respect these guys, obviously as peers and competitors. But I also that kid in me still almost in a certain sense kind of looks up to these guys in a way.
I love that, and I obviously share that 100%. But the way they go about the game, the way they play it, like the consistency, you can almost picture. It's like I can picture watching them play. Like, man, it'd be sick to be his teammate. That'd be so cool to be in the dugout, like chopping it up in the 3rd inning about like what did he throw you and. Okay,
and then not only that, you're in the just real quick. You're in the clubhouse with Yachty, with Wainwright, with Pujols. I mean, Arenado, Goldschmidt. You got these young players, like other young players that are absolute studs. like it's just, man, if you're a young player there, you're up just for September, and like you don't know how long your time's gonna last. Man, embrace the hell out of that. Like get your conversation in while you can, because being in a room with guys like that doesn't happen very often.
And we're going to have some more stuff on the Cardinals when we get out of this interview. I'd like to talk about Tyler O'Neill. But first, I want to talk to Luis Castillo. And this interview is brought to us by our good friends at BetterHelp. We've been talking about BetterHelp at Barstool for a while, and good reason. That's because mental health is so utterly important, and it's not just in the sports world, it's in all aspects of life. We're talking about athletes taking time off to tend to mental health issues, or maybe a sales manager, maybe it's just you're just grinding, you're driving a bus, you're working a forklift. The everyday importance of being focused and in the zone cannot ever be overstated. You guys hear it. I mean, people are talking out about how important mental health is. Therapy is the best way to stay in peak mental shape. I can tell you guys from personal experience, you know, there's no reason you shouldn't be talking to somebody. There's an old saying that came up at dinner the other night. It was like, there's people who go to therapy, and then there's people who need therapy. Take that for what it is. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp's a great option. It's convenient, accessible, affordable, and entirely online. Super convenient. You get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey. When you're ready to feel at top of your mental health game, therapy can help you get there. Visit BetterHelp.com/starting to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/starting, 10% off your first month. Okay, Luis Castillo, we talked about him a little bit at the top of the interview. This is cool. He's on the road. We've got his translator with us. The guy's electric. And if you're a Yankees fan, obviously you listen to this one. This is a guy people are saying you missed out on. And when we get out of this, we're going to tie this together with some AL Central playoff or some AL playoff stuff. So stick around. But first, let's get to Luis Castillo. And you talked about like influences, Jake, before, like the childhood stuff, and you can hear it with Luis Castillo when we get into like Pedro Martinez as an influence, and he doesn't hesitate at all to get into stuff. It's really cool shit.
Well, yeah, as a young player, a young kid growing up in the Dominican and wanting to be a pitcher and kind of developing into the guy that he is. I mean, you can almost overlap them and see the similarities. And you can idolize a guy and kind of develop your game after a certain guy. It doesn't mean you're going to be able to throw 100 miles an hour and have that sort of changeup and that breaking ball, but he does. So it's amazing to have a guy like Pedro Martinez as an idol, a childhood idol, and then kind of develop into a guy who's almost identical to him. So pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, here he is. Here's Luis Castillo, our first translated interview. All right, we're in the interview portion of today's show. We are joined by Seattle Mariners right-handed pitcher Luis Castillo. Luis, you look like are you in a hotel room right now? Where are you?
Hotel room.
Detroit,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Playing the Tigers. And your last start, you were at home, correct? Last start was at home against the Guardians. And it just seems like not many people have started their career the way you have. We've had guys like Zach Gallen on the show who have kind of hit the ground running when they got to the big leagues, and you're one of those guys. And I pitched against you and saw you perform as a competitor and compared you to Pedro Martinez. Do you like that comparison?
I love it. I
you
love
would,
it, man.
You would have to love that. And your arm angle is perfect for a changeup. Have you always thrown from that kind of low 3/4 arm slot? And has a changeup just been a pitch for you that has taken time to develop, or was it just something that came easy for you?
Bueno, gracias a ese ángulo que yo tengo al brazo, muy bueno para tirar el cambio de velocidad, que pues por eso que tengo el cambio muy bueno. Este año no está tan bueno como el año pasado, 2019, pero estamos trabajando en él.
Yeah, he said that that arm angle is something that has always been natural for him. That's always been his his release point. He's always been on the lower. He he thinks this year he's been using a higher angle, which is why we've seen his four-seam fastball has taken a step this year, but he feels he's taking a little bit of effectiveness of his changeup.
Is that, and we'll just ask him, is that something that he's trying to get back to? Is he trying to bring that arm angle down a little bit? Because when I watch him throw, the changeup is just, it's one of those pitches that's devastating. It's hard. It's the hardest pitch to recognize. And it looks like it's there, and it's just guys are always out front. And did that just happen by accident? Was it bad habits that kind of led to that arm angle kind of creeping upwards? And if so, is he working on kind of bringing it back down to where he normally is?
Bueno, yo digo que fue por accidente, porque tú sabes que la temporada la empezamos con molestia en el hombro, y después que vinimos, ya que estábamos ready, el cambio no era el mismo. Yo creo que fue por accidente, porque estaban un poco lesionados del hombro.
He says he feels it was by accident that this year, because of he started the year due to the lockout. He had a late start, and he had a little bit of shoulder tightness. He kind of like switched the angle because it was bothering him, and he started throwing from a higher angle.
What do you miss most about Cincinnati now that you're with Seattle, or what has been your most favorite part about moving on to a new team?
Bueno, lo que más extraño es la fanaticada, que la fanaticada allá en Cincinnati era muy bonita, muy buena. Y ahora aquí en Seattle está el fanático, que oye, increíble la fanaticada y la ciudad muy bonita.
What he misses the most from Cincinnati is the fans. They were solid, but also what he's loved the most about Seattle is the fan base. He said that it's electric, and it's been crazy since he arrived.
Yeah, the fans in Seattle can't get crazy. And Luis, so you have one postseason start. It was with Cincinnati in the second wild card game in 2020. How much are you looking forward to getting back to the postseason, helping your team either stay in that wild card, separate yourself, kind of ease the tension a little bit, get to the postseason, and do what you did? Because you pitched very well in that wild card game. But how exciting is it for you to be back in a position to potentially pitch in the postseason once again?
Bueno, ahora mucho mejor, porque ahora ya tenemos los fanáticos. En el 2020 no teníamos fanáticos. Ahora va a ser como más electrizante, como mucho más mejor, con la fanaticada ahí atrás de nosotros, apoyando a nosotros, y tratar de dar lo mejor que uno tiene en el brazo y en el cuerpo para ayudar al equipo a llegar más lejos.
He said he's very excited about it because, on his only postseason start, there were no fans on the stands.
Yeah. Oh, that's shitty. I didn't even think about that. Man, God,
he's looking forward to pitch in October with 50,000 people behind him.
Tu cabello es hermosa. Como se dice? Your hair is beautiful. Could you? Yeah, how?
Yeah, what's under the hat? God dang.
Can I see and can you tell us?
Wow.
How long you been working on that?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Carl, can we do it?
Yeah,
So bad.
I got nothing, man.
We got nothing, man.
My mustache.
Yeah.
So you're obviously adjusting well to Seattle, and food has to be a big part of that. Where was the better food for you? And I know you've only been in Seattle for a little while. Did you love the food? Did you find good spots that you liked in Cincinnati? And then have you found some new spots in Seattle that you like?
Me gusta más el marisco y muchas veces cuando son cenas así que voy con mi esposa o con la familia, voy a comer steak. Muy buena la comida allá en Seattle.
Okay. Yeah, he said he's he didn't say this, but I'll just give you a little bit of insight. But he loves fishing. He's a fisherman. Like when he's back home, he's
Nice.
out fishing 4 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon every day. So he loves seafood. He loves seafood, and he said, everywhere he goes, he tries to find the best seafood place in town. And he's had a couple good meals since he arrived in Seattle, which is very different to most players from the Dominican because they only want to stick to Dominican food. But because he loves fishing, he always likes to try to find the seafood places.
Now, how'd you get into fishing? Was that something that you did with your family when you were young? And if so, what kind of fishing do you like to do most? You go like deep sea, like way offshore, or do you stay in close? Because I like to wade the flats. We fish for redfish all the time down at the coast of Texas. I've been deep sea fishing quite a few times. Get a little seasick, but you got to throw up. You throw up and then you're fine. So what's your favorite kind of fishing? And what's the biggest fish you've ever caught?
Tú sabes que yo, depende el tipo de pescado que tú vayas a pescar. Yo muchas veces me voy a 40, 45 millas fuera, para allá, mar adentro. Y siempre me gusta el red sniper, es lo que siempre me gusta.
He said, depending on what type of fish they're trying to catch, he might go 40, 50 miles deep into the ocean. He said red snapper. This is everything.
Delicious. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious. Obviously, fastball, changeup, but which one do you like more between your curveball and your slider?
Bueno, yo prefiero más el slider porque no tengo curva y el slider este año está muy, muy, muy bien.
He prefers the slider because he doesn't have a curveball.
Hey, the curveball's hard to throw from that arm angle. It's hard to throw from down there, man. So that slider, yeah. I mean, you don't need a curveball. No, you don't need it, man. You don't need it.
That's the point. When you were a little boy, who was the big superstar in the Dominican Republic? Who would the boys all think they were if you were up to bat and pretending like you were in the World Series? Like who is your hero when you were a little boy in the Dominican?
Bueno, el ídolo siempre ha sido Pedro Martínez. Cuando Pedro Martínez iba a pichar, mi papá, yo podía estar haciendo lo que sea y mi papá decía, ven, que tenemos que ver a Pedro Martínez, porque él siempre le gustaba cuando Pedro Martínez pichaba y ya tú sabes, siempre eso era cada 5 días a ver a Pedro Martínez.
He said it was Pedro. Every 5 days, didn't matter what they were doing at his house. When Pedro was pitching, it was time to sit down and watch.
Have you gone fishing with Pedro? Have you met him?
Que si tú has ido a pescar con Pedro y que si ustedes se conocen.
Todavía no hemos tenido la oportunidad, pero ya hemos tratado de comunicarnos y ir a pescar aunque sea un día.
They haven't had a chance, but they've talked about it.
How often? I got to know this because a lot of Latin guys, big chains, bright shoes, the Christian Louboutins with the stones everywhere, shirts, everything. How often do you go shopping? And when you do go shopping, do you bring guys with you? Do you go shopping together? And what's the most you've spent? Like, will you go spend 20, 30 grand on clothes and shoes and shit like that? Because I used to do it a little bit, but I couldn't wear the gold shoes like Pedro Strop used to wear. I can't do that. I love seeing y'all do it. It looks great on you. So do you love to shop? And what's the most you've spent at one time?
He loves shopping for shoes, and the most he spent has been about $4 grand.
That's not so bad. Not so bad.
Yeah.
All right. Once you get to free agency,
I'm not sure he's being straight.
That number will go up. I don't think. Yeah, he's lying. He's lying. Because I know he's probably bought a pair of shoes that cost that much. But when he gets to free agency, that number's going up for sure. So craziest teammate.
Bueno, aquí en Seattle ahora mismo hay dos, que es Crawford y Jesse Winker. Esos son los más locos que hay aquí.
Winker
and Crawford. Oh man, what a crazy guys.
Pero en tu carrera, ¿quién ha sido el más loco?
Winker.
Oh, he also played with Puig.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, you forgot about Puig, didn't you? What's wrong with that guy, man? What's wrong with that guy? If he could just chill out, he wouldn't be in Chihuahua, Mexico. He'd be over here playing with us or with you, not with me. Fuck, I'm dead. Yeah. Is Puig as crazy as he seems to the opponents? Like in the clubhouse, like is he just always like that?
No, no, el Clubhouse, él es una tremenda persona. Él como que se transforma cuando va al terreno. No sé qué es lo que le pasa cuando pisa la tierra del terreno.
No, he said in the clubhouse he's very chill. He's like from the movie Transformers. When he steps on the field, he turns into a different guy.
Yep. Well, it's like a gremlin. When you get it wet or when the lights come on, he goes nuts.
Who is there anybody that has a lot of success against Luis that Luis is trying to figure out how to, is there somebody who really has his number?
José Ramírez, no sé cómo voy a sacarle out. Ese hombre siempre tiene que darme un ron o doble, siempre tiene que hacerme algo en el juego.
Yeah, it's J-Ram. He's got his number.
Yeah.
It's funny because I represent both of them, and they're both from the same hometown in the Dominican, so they know each other for many years, and it's like an inside joke at this point because every time he faces it, he takes him deep every game.
No. Oh, he's got your number like that. Damn. Okay. So will he mess with you in the off season? Do you guys hang out a lot? Do you fish together? And are there other? I'm assuming that there's a lot of guys that you play with and against. That you train together, you spend a lot of time with, and have you been fishing with guys that will get sick on the boat? And what are some other things that you like to do in the off season? Tell me. I hope you don't ride motorcycles. Motorcycles, yes, sí or no?
Motorcycle, no. Bueno, una vez yo llevé a Keuri Mella a pescar y él duró como 3 horas durmiendo en pleno sol de tan mareado que estaba. Entonces, allá lo que me gusta es estar tranquilo en mi casa, no me gusta estar saliendo a la calle. Tú sabes que en la calle nosotros no buscamos nada, sino problemas. Yo estoy tranquilo siempre con mi familia en mi casa.
He said he took one of his teammates, Kiori Mella, who was an up and down guy. He's now in Asia, but he took him out fishing one time and he passed out for 3 hours in the sun. And besides fishing, he's a homebody. He doesn't like to be out. And he said, when you're out, you're just looking for trouble.
That's a fact. Are you single, married, kids?
¿Estás casado?
Sí, estoy casado. Tengo 2 niñas, una de 4 años y otra de 2 años.
He's married, 2 girls, 4 years old and 2 years old.
Oh man, nice, amazing. Plans to have more? Try for a boy. You gotta pass it on. You gotta keep that arm alive.
Yeah, maybe in 2 more years, looking for Castillo Jr.
Yeah. Yep.
I love it. Now, if you weren't playing baseball, what would you be doing? Don't say fishing. What would you be doing?
He said he likes architecture.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your favorite city to travel to? What are there cities in MLB that you really find very beautiful?
¿Qué otras ciudades en la liga te gusta visitar?
Bueno, me gusta, San Francisco, California es muy, muy bonito. Me gusta mucho ir allá.
Yeah. He likes San Fran.
How was the All-Star game this year with Julio? Did you know he was going to go off in the home run derby? Were you pretty excited to see him get that recognition? Oh, well, shit, you guys weren't even fucking teammates. How's he doing? How's my guy Julio doing? He just got paid.
Julio, bueno, a pesar de que le dieron ese contrato, él ha sido el mismo, tranquilo. Siempre, él es un muchacho que siempre está, cuando está en el roster, siempre está concentrado. Siempre está concentrado y me gusta verlo como disfruta el juego, todo lo innings.
He said he hasn't changed a bit since Friday, and he's a guy that he likes to watch him play because he's laser focused.
Have you been to any team dinners yet with the boys?
Que si ha tenido alguna cena del equipo todavía.
Sí, fuimos, ¿dónde era que estábamos? En el road trip pasado, fuimos a un restaurante de sushi, fuimos muchos peloteros y la disfrutamos bien allá.
Yeah, they had a team dinner on the road recently. They went to a sushi place.
And who pays?
¿Quién pagó?
Pagamos 3 personas.
They split it? Is that?
Ya.
Ah. Oh man. Okay. Okay. On a budget. On a budget. I get it. You know, 7.5 million. Not enough. I see. I see.
Ujú.
Que la picaron, que 7,5 millones todavía no es suficiente. ¿Y quiénes eran los otros dos?
Bueno, estaba Suárez y estaba Fraser. Entre nosotros tres pagamos la cena.
They split it between him, Suarez, and Frazier.
Frazier, come on. Yeah, you got to tell Frazier. I'll text him too. Hey man, you can't be doing that shit. You gotta pay. You gotta pay. Unbelievable. Hey, Frazier's my man too. I love Frazier. I got to know this. I'm thinking watching Robbie Ray pitch. What do you think of these tight pants? You like these tight pants, or is it too much?
Ay, tú sabes que esos son el estilo del pichaje, esos pantalones así pegaditos. Yo no me ponería unos pantalones así pegaditos. Me veo como esos helados de Dominicana que le dicen helado amarrado.
He said that's his style of pitching. He respects it, but he could never pull that off. He said if he tried to wear those pants, he would look like those ice creams. But
Dominican ice creams is like
yeah,
Yeah.
they wrap them in a bag and they're very tight.
Yeah.
It's like shaped ice.
Not a
wrapped
good
in-
look. Yeah. No, we like to stretch out the pants, and before games, will you pull them up over your knees like that? Ask him if he pulls them up real high to where they look like shorts to stretch out the bottoms, because that's how we all used to do it.
He said he used to do it before, but it would stretch the bottom, the ankle too much.
Too much.
And now he just leaves it alone.
His legs are too big.
What about do you do any or do any teammates in Cincinnati do a lot of trash talking? Like anybody really good at doing some trash talking in the clubhouse? Like who's some of the guys that be doing a lot of trash talking?
bueno, el único que yo siempre he visto que así es Jesse Winker. Siempre él está, ya tú sabes, exagerado todo el día.
Yeah, it says Winker. Winker is the guy. All day long.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see that.
Okay. So Jesse Winker just loco.
Crazy man. Yeah.
We got to get him on the show then.
What about Joey Votto? Is Joey Votto would he take you out to dinner when you got up to Cincinnati in 2017? Those teams were good, or who were some really good influences when you first got to the big leagues?
Bueno, Joey Boro fue uno de esos veteranos que siempre, tremenda persona, a pesar de que no estamos juntos, pero tremenda persona. Él me regaló un traje cuando subía aquí a Grandes Ligas y siempre, casi la mayoría de veces que salíamos en el road trip, él nos llevaba a cenar al equipo.
He said Joey is a great guy. Respect him a lot. When he came up to the big leagues, Joey was one of those guys that bought him a suit. And usually when they were on the road, Joey would take the team out to dinner and pay for it.
Yeah, Joey has to pay. I mean, he's got $300 million. Joey he's got to pay. I mean, he should even buy us a dinner. I mean, he's got that much money. Man, I got one more question for you, and I ask a lot of guys this. I got to know, who's the softest guy that you've played with that's always in the trainer room, getting massages, getting his feet rubbed, his ankles taped? Who spends the most time in the trainer room just doing random shit throughout the day?
Bueno, yo conocí a un americano, él jugaba está en Cincinnati ahora, él se llama Jess Hoffman. Él siempre tenía que estar en el training room poniéndose las pullitas, los niros de eso, o masaje o cualquier cosita, tenía que estar ahí todo el día.
Jeff Hosman is always in the training room putting those needles. I don't know if it's cupping or acupuncture.
Yeah, dry needle or acupuncture. Yeah.
And always getting a massage, and he spends the whole day in there.
Okay. Yeah. There's every team's got a couple of those guys. Like if you're looking for them, you know they're in the training room. And who eats the most? Who's always in the kitchen? Pre-game, right after BP, the first guy that's in line for the spread. And then also, do you have you? I'm sure you saw this in the minor leagues. You ever see somebody like out of the shower in a towel that goes in the kitchen to eat?
No lo he visto con toalla, pero lo he visto con la licra corta, sin camisa, con solamente la licra. He visto a Jesse Winker que va a la cocina así también. Y ahora mismo en Seattle, el que yo más he visto en la cocina es a Diego Castillo. Ese hombre come, que ya tú sabes.
He's a Winker is the guy that goes straight from the shower to the kitchen and
dick in the spread.
Nobody eats more right now than Diego Castillo.
Love that. Yeah, it's a big no-no to you go in the kitchen and just sliders during your towel. You can't put your dick in the spread, Carl. You can't do that. That's a no-no.
I'll keep that in mind. I do have a big dick. It gets in the way sometimes. Hey, speaking of big dicks. All right, Luis. 3-2, 2 outs. World Series, bases loaded, big jam. Are you throwing the changeup?
Sí.
Que hablando de tener los cojones grandes, 3-2, 2 outs, noveno inning, serie mundial, que si vienes con el cambio.
Bueno, yo vengo con mi picheo, yo vengo con la recta, porque el cambio no es bueno este año, yo vengo con mi recta. Si me van a dar, que me den con la recta.
No, he's saying fastball. Fastball. The changeup is
good man.
Is this year is not as effective as the fastball, and he's got to die with the fastball.
98, 99, you never know.
You throw that kind of gas, yeah. See.
Yeah,
that's it, man. Yeah. Crazy movement.
Yeah.
And one more thing, I got to know. You're in Detroit. Are you guys stay in Birmingham? You stay in Birmingham? Is that where they're staying?
Estás en Detroit, que si se quedan en Birmingham.
Sí, Birmingham.
Do you like to gamble?
Que si te gusta jugar casino.
No, casino.
No casino? Damn, okay.
No, I love my money.
Okay. Well, look, there's if you guys need a good restaurant, I don't know if you've been yet, but Roast in the Westin downtown is one of my favorite restaurants. If you guys have time, I highly recommend it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, good fish.
Yeah, decent fish, great steak too, great steak.
Luis, good luck the rest of the year, man. Stay healthy. We can't wait to see you in October, pitching in front of 50,000 screaming fans. I can tell you're very excited. It's gonna be fun, isn't it? Yeah.
I can wait. I love it.
All right, that's Luis Castillo. Great stuff. Wonderful head of hair. I didn't really understand that until he took the hat off and was doing the side image. It's just a beautiful mane.
It is. How high the hat was sitting up off of his head seems. I wouldn't want to deal with that personally. 5 years of growth to get to that point. I mean, it looks good on him. You remember John Jaso when he had those massive dreads with Pittsburgh? It's a commitment, but man, it's got to smell like shit. Huh?
Oh, I can't imagine how gross that is because
it's got to stink. It's got to stink because you don't wash it. Because that's how they stay in those dreads. It's just like matted hair stuck together.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take this. I'm gonna say stench. That's a tough word, but I'll take that. The waft that gives out if I have 98, 99 in the tank. I'd be remiss not to point out too. My favorite part of that by far was him being like, "Nah, I got 98, 99."
Yeah, he does.
I'm going to that.
Yeah. Oh, it's coming.
Now, Yankees fans are a little in disarray right now because of the starting pitching. I want to spend some time on the Yankees. I've been meaning to do this. I've done some research. I've compiled some questions, and kind of here's my brain going in for the Yankees because for all intents and purposes, they'll have the first or the second spot in the playoff standings, meaning that they'll benefit from getting to play the winner of the wild card series. And that means that the wild card team is going to have their starting pitching in the mix. So when the Yankees get that first game of the ALDS, whoever they're playing against, there isn't necessarily this need to send Garrett Cole out there for game one. If the pitching matches up, you do have this opportunity to run Nestor Cortez out there. From your perspective, Jake, when you guys had kind of like legs up in division stuff and they could say, do we want to go Lester? Do we want to go Arrieta? What does that decision look like? Is it made like based on the last week, the last 2 weeks, or is it more matchup specific? We're like, well, this pitcher like Nestor Cortez will match up better with the Mariners in this situation. How do you see that decision getting made for the Yankees?
Well, I think if both pitchers are pitching at or near the same level, then it would strictly come down to matchups and recent history with those teams, and there is usually a conversation with each guy, maybe in a group or maybe individually, talking about the scenarios. And then they just have to decide what they're most comfortable with. Say there are two guys who, say one guy is underperforming, but he's one of the top guys. And then you have, maybe your 2 or your 3 starter who's just absolutely on fire and just is lights out. You might go with him regardless of what the matchup potentially looks like, just because he's dialed in, his command is there, his breaking balls are sharp, his ability to limit free passes is there. He controls the running game. Whatever the situation is, they got to analyze all that information, and then also have a conversation with each guy and see where their comfort is. But Cole or Cortez, I mean, he's still out with a groin strain. We don't necessarily know how long he's going to be out. But if both of those guys are healthy, I mean, they're both going to want the ball. There's no question about that. I think it's just going to come down to matchups, whoever they're facing, what the bench looks like, left-handed heavy, right-handed heavy, and kind of go from there. I mean, there's a lot to analyze. I mean, it really is. It's not quite as cut and dry as you might think, and rightfully so. I mean, there's a lot on the line, so you want to kind of go over everything and see which scenario plays best for your ball club against a given opponent.
And if there's reasons Yankees fans should be, take a deep breath about pitching matchups for the ALDS. I know this is at the top of mind, but I think this is the first time ever Major League Baseball is going uniform off day on Monday, October 10th. Then ALDS Tuesday, game 1. Off day Wednesday, ALDS game 2 Thursday. Off day Friday. 3 off days in the first 5 days of the series. And again, that's coming when you're going to be playing it. You're going to be playing a club that played 3 games in a row. So good advantage there. The Major League Baseball, I don't know if this is being talked about. They very much create a good advantage for the first and second seeds. Yeah,
and you're you're rewarding them for being the first and second seed, allowing yourself to get a certain guy or guys in line to pitch more frequently. And I mean that's a big advantage. No doubt.
They're not doing it with the NLDS. You can make an argument that Major League Baseball put the schedule together with the Yankees starting pitching in mind. And I'm not even joking, because it's worth so much more to have the Yankees in a World Series, where if you were the scheduling guy for Major League Baseball, like, well, I got a solution not a solution, but like I can create just like this little wrinkle here, because they could have given it to the National League, but the National League doesn't need it. Why? Because the top teams that move the needle got great starting pitching. Deep starting pitching, I should say. Not great.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I would hope that they're not doing something like that, but maybe they are. It's all about views, and and TV money and eyeballs. So yeah, I think it's definitely a possibility. Not that it's right, but I could see it happening.
Hey, a lot of people talk shit about Derek Jeter post-career about, like, he wasn't really that good defensively and all this stuff. If there's anybody talking shit about the Yankees middle infield, or middle infielders and stuff, people that have ragged on Derek Jeter, especially if you're, like, in the Yankees and you're like, well, A-Rod should have been playing short. I think right now people would take Derek Jeter right now and go put him in the middle infield. Yankees fans are going nuts. Kleber's slowed down in August. IKF has had a really tough August. They've got a big prospect in AAA Yankees fans want to see. I think they sound crazy trying to call this kid up in September and seeing if he's good enough to play shortstop and hit ninth in October. It's just one of those situations where you guys have, like, guys run into, like you said, 3-4 week tough stretches. Gleyber Torres is more than good enough to dominate pitching. And
yeah, agreed. Yeah.
I don't know what to do with that. I don't know enough about,
Well, I think, look, if you think a guy's ready, I love bringing him up and giving him that October experience. I mean, that's invaluable moving into next season. I mean, it doesn't mean that you got to stick him out there and he's got to play every game, every inning. But man, just being in that atmosphere and being around the boys, like when you're making a push towards, the end of October, that's great for a young player. Really, really good for a young player. And I was just talking to Colin before the show about, the Mets potentially bringing up their number one prospect, that young catcher. Not everybody has to be hitting, 330 in AAA or AA and have a million home runs to be brought up. Like, yeah, I believe that Tatis, his minor league numbers weren't like eye popping when he was brought up. But they're like, hey, this guy's ready to play in the big leagues. And then he just went off. So sometimes giving guys that opportunity and being like, hey man, you're coming to the show. Like we're going to start your major league career. That helps elevate, like, sometimes the best minor league players to another level once they get to the big leagues. And, I don't know. I'm not all for, like, being overly hesitant with getting guys up. If they're your best prospect, if they're a stud, like, and there's a spot, get them up there.
It's a good attitude. I'm coming in here more conservative, but to hear it from your side, I hope there's some Yankee fans out there that fuels their argument to bring up. I think his name's Oswald Peraza. Work with me here, guys. I get one of the top-rated middle infield prospects in the minor leagues. And I just want to close again. The way the MLB set up the playoff schedule for the Yankees, I don't know. It doesn't really matter who starts game 1 or 2. They're going to be fresh, and they're going to be going against guys that aren't. Okay. Yeah. Bag of the week. You bring up young players. I don't know who to give it to, if it's O'Neal Cruz or Tyler O'Neill. You texted us last night.
I'm
like,
glad
dude,
you brought this up.
Sleep.
I watched the home run that O'Neal Cruz hit off of Corbin Burns at least 15 times, and I sent it to a group text of a bunch of players. I'm like, did y'all see this O'Neal Cruz home run? Because you look at the pitch, it's a 95-mile-an-hour cutter, kind of middle away at the bottom of the zone, and he hits it at 120-something miles an hour, 437 feet. It's just like most guys roll that over or don't swing at it because they know they can't do much with it, and he lands all over it. I text you. I said this guy could turn into one of the most dominant power hitters this game has ever seen. And I know some people are saying, "Oh, shut the fuck up." He could with the ability that this kid has, and what I've seen him do at the plate. It's very rare. It's rare that guys can do that type of damage at that sort of velocity. And he's inconsistent. He's hitting 200, which is okay. Like it could take some time for him to get to that spot, but it's just very exciting to see a guy like this, that type of athletic. And you're like, I can't believe that a human being can be that athletic at that size. He's a freak. I saw him hit, it was in the minor leagues, but he hit a single up the middle at like 119 miles an hour, and it was a ball the catcher's here, and he reaches up like this above his head to catch the ball, and he stays on top of it. He barrels it and almost like takes one of the center fielder's ankle off. Like, just impressive shit. And his bat to ball ability, his hand-eye coordination, his rotational power for his size. I mean, I'm just saying, like, bear with me, stick with me here. Let's follow his career closely, because I think that this kid, I hope he turns into one of the best power hitters we've ever seen in the game, because it's there. The potential is definitely there.
It's amazing you call attention to that, because people are obviously there's a lot of things to be saying about this guy. I haven't seen and heard a lot of people talk about like what upside on the power potential is. I think it's more of this like generational athlete playing. To me, it's like, how does this guy play shortstop every day? Like that, if he was a right fielder, a left fielder, you can kind of write off like, well, he's a freak corner outfielder, and he's to play shortstop in the big leagues every day is such a demanding thing mentally, and not just physically, but to be locked in on every pitch, and you're by far the most important person in the defense. And it just says a lot about, like, for a youngster to come up and to show the type of potential he has. And it's like, this guy's going to be doing it at shortstop. Like,
and I could see him, he might, as he gets a little older, I mean, this kid's probably going to put on, 20 pounds of muscle. He's going to fill out. But he doesn't necessarily have to. But as guys age a little bit, not bad weight. I think he's going to put on some nice weight, and maybe he moves around a little bit. But now he's playing shortstop. He's really good at shortstop. But things could change. But his bat is just the best players in the major leagues are kind of amazed what he's able to do. Not just me. So. Just stick with me. Let's follow him. See how he develops. But it's great for the Pirates too. I mean, it's him and Hayes. Like, they haven't had a player like that since Andrew McCutchen. So it's a bright spot for the Pirates for sure.
And then the other name I had for Bag of the Week, these guys just like put their nuts on the table. Obviously, O'Neill Cruz, we're talking about him, 122, 123 exit velocity. But Tyler O'Neill. We talked a little bit last show about kind of expectations coming to the season, where he was like under the radar kind of MVP candidate in some of the betting markets. Is this a guy who's just like slide behind Arenado and Goldschmidt and do a ton of damage? So a little bit, like slower up and down. Season isn't going as he anticipated. This last week, he's got 4 home runs. He's got 5 hits, 4 of which are home runs in the last week. Out of like 20-something at bats. His slugging percentage is through the roof. And I think he's homered in 3 of his last 5 plate appearances. And I just love this guy because he looks like he plays running back for Air Force or something. He's just
he's stacked.
His back is gigantic.
Yeah, he looks like a fullback, doesn't he? Yeah. He's a unit. Looks really good in pants. And he's elevating his game. I think it's no surprise with the Cardinals. It just doesn't surprise me at all. So that's what you get. That's what they do. That's what they do in St. Louis.
Yeah. The one guy I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I had mentioned Tyler O'Neill last episode. You had mentioned Framber Valdez at the top of this episode. I was just saying due to the week. I love the research you were putting out there, because it's 22 quality starts in a row. But his 3rd start of the year, he got roughed up bad by the Los Angeles Angels. And I'm a big proponent of, you get roughed up bad, I love you in the next time coming out, because you just make a couple adjustments. It's like correction. How much is he corrected? He's corrected to the tune of, after one very, very bad start, 22 straight quality starts. You rattled off some of the numbers there. He's dominant, but not in like this overwhelming swing and miss way. He's dominant in that he's just going to come right at you in the zone with heavy. His sinker's like a bowling ball, 15-pounder.
Yeah, he's going to get 12 to 15 ground balls, a start. And yeah, it's not the flashy. I mean, he's got swing and miss shit. Let's not get it twisted.
Sure.
But that's just not the kind of guy he is. And in a game where the sinker was kind of forgotten for a while, now I feel like it's making a slight comeback. Man, your job out there is to get as close as you can to getting 27 outs. And the sinker is one of the easiest ways to do that, especially if you have a sinker that's of that caliber. He knows who he is, and he sticks with it. He does it really well. I mean, he's commanding the shit out of the ball, and he's just he's very polished with it, and he knows how to use that pitch. And 22 starts later, he's got consecutive quality starts, and that's hard to do. A lot of people look at quality starts like it's not a great stat, because it's 6 innings, 3 runs. That's a 4.5 ERA. But still, man, I mean, you're being very consistent, and it's not. I mean, he's not just. There are a lot of starts in there that are way better than 6 and 3. But yeah, man, I mean, he's really good. I love watching him.
Another reason why if you're an Astros fan, it's like, I would like to encourage Astros fans to. Like nationally, generally as a sport, like there, a huge portion of people that will be tuning in to baseball down the stretch of the season will be like, "Who's this guy? Who is this guy?" I don't know if Astros fans realize that about Framber, that he has there's still to me a ceiling where he becomes a name and he just becomes more dominant and all stuff, and the fact he can get outs early in a count with stuff, it just kind of sets him up to have a very long, continued, sustained success in his career.
Yeah.
And then last award I had, Team of the Week, Diamondbacks. They've won 5 in a row. Torey Lovullo's back again. They announced, I think he's not going anywhere. He's the longest tenured manager in Diamondbacks history. They just brought up this kid, Corbin Carroll, who I saw play last night, who holds the StatCast record for longest hit ball at the highest exit velocity and most ideal launch angle without being a home run. It was like a 440-foot double line drive off the center field fence in Arizona last night. He's a tiny little outfielder, just like a little lefty, but his bat looks incredible. I think he was Arizona Diamondbacks' top prospect, one of the top prospects in baseball. And again, I've been putting good vibes in the Diamondbacks all season long. I'm just going to keep doing this because I like what they're doing. It goes back to when they were going to trade Ketel Marte, and he was on the block, and at the last second out of nowhere, they came back. They signed him to a $70 million extension, and the owner's like, listen, we've learned if we want to get good in this division, we got to stop getting rid of our good players. So, hearing that and then seeing these good players come up, seeing the pitching staff mesh, don't be – and I'm talking to the Snake himself. Don't be writing off the Snakes in the long run here.
No, don't. And I've been waiting for a while to see the Diamondbacks be good. They're in a really tough division, but they've been, are they kind of like the Rockies? Are they going to be good this year? Probably not. Doesn't turn out to be a very exciting season for them in the years past. But there's bright spots there. There are, obviously, with what Zach Gallen's doing. I mean, they have a lot of good players and a lot of good players in the minor league. So we'll see. I mean, the next couple years could be pretty exciting for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I like these stories of teams that are trying to really do it with their homegrown guys and then hit free agency big. And it's not like the Diamondbacks are afraid to spend money. They've done it. So to the extent that they do it the right way, then they can become one of the another long term. And the more MLB has teams that are set up for the long run, it's just going to be a much better product. Okay, last question I have for the week. Just a simple pick one. I don't know if I'm going to do this to end every week, but to me, I was just like, you know what? I'm curious, Jake. I'm going to make you an owner. You're going to invest in something in the next couple of years. I might steer you into it. That's going to turn you into a billionaire. You then go out, you buy a Major League Baseball team, and you get to build around. You're going to do this very quickly, by the way. You get to pick one guy out of the 3. Pick one: Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Paul Goldschmidt. It's only for a full season. Don't tell me this 5-year age. Just
for 1 year.
1 year. Aaron Judge, Shohei, Paul Goldschmidt.
I'm going to go Shohei just because of what he can do on both sides. I mean, he's still showing the ability to be unbelievably, talented at the plate and on the mound. So just for that reason, I think that you have to go with Shohei. And if you put him on a winning team, just think about that. You put him in. Do you think the Yankees are better than they are right now if they have Shohei instead of Aaron Judge?
based on where their starting pitching
That's
staff
really
is for an ALCS.
That's why I say that. I mean, obviously the offensive production with the power numbers is better with Judge, but does it even itself out with Shohei being able to be on the mound also? It's just hard. It's hard, but I think it might.
It's the season that Judge is having right now. They're saying the value he adds when you add all that stuff up is greater than Shohei was a pitcher and a hitter. But then the thing with Goldschmidt is it's so like it's more likely than not he wins a Triple Crown. They were talking about a guy who like very favorably, and when I say favorably, I should actually say it isn't really. It's kind of a downgrade in a comparison to say that Paul Goldschmidt's year is similar to what the Miguel Cabrera years looked like when he was doing his Triple Crown. The stats are a little bit in favor of Goldschmidt. So,
yeah, it is. It is. And, yeah, I mean, that's tough. I mean, I love
Gold Glove first
obviously.
baseman that plays. You can pencil him in for 650 plate appearances and Gold Glove first base in the middle of the lineup. Obviously, Aaron Judge with some injury concerns plays an above it. Plays a good center field. Can I say that?
I mean, you asked me this question tomorrow, and then you asked me this question on Friday. I could give you three different answers. I mean, you're doing well if you have any of those three guys. I mean, you look at Goldschmidt, you look at all of it, what he's leading the league in. I mean, an average on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS plus, total bases, RBIs. It's remarkable.
Colin, I know I'm missing something. I just don't know what it is. So if you want to, feel free to chime in. I know there's something big that people are going, damn it, Carl, why are you not talking about this? Okay.
I think we did pretty well.
I think
we did well. I think we had a good show. And guys, hey, like and subscribe. If you enjoy spending some time with us, we appreciate you tuning in. We're having a good time over here, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. And I was a little late to call time, and you guys are good teammates. You guys are understanding good teammates here. I'm thinking about you in the move, man. I just so you know, like if every now and then you get a little like, oh, okay, a little boost. I'm just up here in Chicago wishing you well with the move, getting your shit organized. And
we're close.
Yeah,
we're close. I got a bunch of things to donate. We're going to. We got like 4 Xboxes and PlayStations that we're taking, to some kids that really could use them. A shit ton of clothes, a bunch of cool stuff. We're helping people in need, and we're getting things ironed out. We're we're settled in, but we're just almost completely unpacked, which is a good feeling. And then also, it's cool. I think I'm coming up there in 2 weeks. We're going to do a show together in person in Chicago.
Looking forward to that. You're going to see our office, and you're going to be like, wait a second, what? What is this? You're not going to believe how nice some of this stuff is. I'm telling you. You're going to be like, we got to get some of these cameras going. This is a show. Go subscribe to YouTube. Refer the show to a friend. We will be back next week with another slate of interviews. Just stay tuned. Subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.
Good show.